Everyone knows about Clayoquot Sound and what happened at Clayoquot Sound.
There was a sense of elation and community, but there was also a sense of that we were definitely on the front lines, almost like a war zone situation, although everyone there was committed to nonviolence.
Still threatened. It's the proudest moment for myself and my kids.
You know, they weren't hating the loggers. It was bigger than that.
Clayoquot is irreplaceable. Well, Clayoquot Sound is it's on Vancouver Island. It's one of the biggest, well, it is the largest remaining piece of old growth ancient forest left on Vancouver Island. It's actually one of the largest in the world, and because it's globally very rare ecosystem. There are a number of large pristine valleys in Clayoquot Sound, so there's a lot of very large intact areas. It's not just one isolated valley, so that makes it significant for the survival of biodiversity in the long term. I was one of 9 people who was working for the Friends of Clayoquot Sound to organize the summer blockades that were happening.
Something about a protest against McMillan Bladel clear-cutting someplace, and they went, "Dad, we got to go protest." And I said, "I got to work tomorrow."
And I had heard a lot about what was going on at Clayoquot Sound. Certainly was in the news, people being arrested.
Irresponsible corporate behavior. So I think that's why so many people went. It's just because we experienced it. We knew that there's no conscience in a corporate entity. You know, they're there to make profit.
Which that was a whole other experience. You know, walking into the camp and just tents everywhere, people everywhere. It was like, wow, this is, you know, I didn't really realize how big it was. And
there's probably 200 people living in the Peace Camp at one time. There was about 10,000 people who came through the Peace Camp throughout the summer. And it was basically a village. It was an organized village. There was a tree planter's cook shack as a kitchen and a central meeting area. The idea with the Peace Camp was so that there was a location where people who were concerned about Clayoquot Sound and the forestry issues, it was a spot where they could gather and attend workshops and gather information about the issue. And if they chose to participate in going to the actual blockade site, they could get training to do that.
I was actually most impressed by that and by the facilitation of this meeting of 300 people, where I actually did feel that 300 people reached consensus, which was quite shocking. Like, I've never experienced that in my life. It was, to me, this model of consensus building that I'll always remember.
So I think that was a large part of what gave the sense of community.
It felt empowering, and it felt like this could have a chance of being effective.
In the last 10 years, during the time that they've tried to implement the Science Panel standards, which are supposed to be blue ribbon world-class standards, basically it's becoming apparent that it's very difficult for the forest corporations to actually make a profit using those more ecological standards by having a softer footprint on the environment. And so there's pressure now to begin to log again to the edges of salmon streams, to increase the size of the clear cuts, to take out as much wood as possible in as short a period as possible.
The Clayoquot River Valley itself
Yeah.
is still open for logging. Wow, I assumed that part of it was protected. I didn't know any of the details. That's a drag. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that.
We were promised world-class standards, and unfortunately we trusted the government and the corporations to deliver. But we've seen that isn't the case. And I think the public is just now waking up to the fact that we haven't gotten what we wanted and what we asked for. It's what's needed now. I think that we gave the government and the forest companies 10 years to prove themselves, to give them a chance to take care of our forests. And I think it's time now for the individual people to get back involved. And, you know, it may come down to it again that we will have to get out to these areas and actually put ourselves on the line again to stop the destruction of the last remaining areas. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes to that again.
We've lost enough already. We need to stop that. But having said that, if things are gone, we need to relearn how we can start putting some positive energy into the forest.
You know, there are certain things that you just have to do. And so would I go to Clayoquot Sound again? Now I understand the importance. The only reason I went was because of my kids. I would not have gone without my kids kicking me. But now, yeah, I'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, I would do it again.
I would definitely do it again.
But yeah, for sure, I would do that again. Yeah, it was amazing. I think I'd get arrested too this time.